This short video, I'll try to keep it short, will be on how to create a test that you can put into Blackboard using Repondus. Now, what I'm going to show you here, this is a Word document that has everything in the correct format. You can find this information on the CTEL site to get the correct format, but basically there's nothing, no tab marks, no format, just basic. The asterisk is what's identifying as the correct answer. So if you have a document that's a Word document and you want to put it in, we're going to do that with Repondus. Now, Repondus is the software that we use. You can get this from the Software Center, and it's the software that we use to import questions into Blackboard, either to put it in as a test or, as I'm going to show you, an easier way that doesn't rely on Repondus, because I personally have had some difficulties with it always being reliable. But here's what I'm going to show you. Go to Import Questions. We're not looking for a plain text. I have a Word document, and I hope you do as well. So go to your Word document format, whether it's a DOC or a DOCX. In my case, it's current version. Then go look for the look for the test. There's my test. I'm going to open it. Now, what you have to do is you have to give it a name. So we're going to go Psych2 Test 2. And you have to preview it. Now, I'm going to show you. Oh, okay. I've already used this particular one. Let's go like that and see if I've done that one. There we go. Now, see, it's going to show me my questions, and then it's going to show me these errors. Now, in all the years that I've used this, I cannot figure this out, so I don't know what the errors are for because I've never found an error, so just go to Finish. File saved. Now, it's here that you can go in and change any questions you want or edit them. But if all is good and you've checked them before putting them in your Word document, then go directly to Preview and Publish. And then go right to Publish, and we're going to use the Publish wizard. Now, this third button, Save Pool to a Local File for Manual Uploading. We're going to use this file, put it into Repondus, create a zip file that I can put into Blackboard. So I'm going to say yes to that. I'm going to tell it where I want it to go. I want it to go to the desktop, and I'm going to say yes, and it's going to probably give me another version. Yes, I know that's a warning you always will get. And finish. And it's been successfully completed. There's my second one right there. That's the one. I'm going to delete this one because that's the one that said I can't do that test. I already got it already. All right, so we don't need Repondus now. Whoops. We have the Psych2 test we want that's in a zip file we want. So now let's go to Blackboard. I'm going to take you to my developmental shell. It may not look like yours exactly, but that's okay. Yours will have Course Tools under the Control Panel, and I'd like you to go down to Test, Surveys, and Pools. Now, what we're going to be doing is importing a pool. If you've got a test, if your test document is like mine, I have 316 questions, multiple choice, in that zip file. And so that means I'm creating a pool because I'm not giving my students 316 questions to do. I'm only going to give them 60. So I'm going to put it into pools, and then I'm going to create a test. So we'll do that first. If you have a Word document with 20 questions and you're going to give them 20 questions, my only concern with that would be there's nothing stopping them from working with each other and copying and getting the same answers and perhaps getting perfect. That's why I do a pool. So if you have a pool, come here. I've already got 2 pools. I've tried it twice, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to import a pool. Find your zip file. That's the one I want. Open. It's confirming. Yes, that's the one. We're just waiting for it to load, and it will give me an indicator that it's done the work. There it is. Okay. And there's my test. So now I've done my pool. Now I have to go into the Test, Surveys, and Pools again. Up here is the easiest way to get to it. And now I'm going to create a test. and I'm going to build a test. So I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this one, because I need a separate name, Psych2T2. Now, if you have for sure, you know what you want to put in as description and instructions for the students, put them in now. You can do it later, but you need to put something in description and instructions that describes what the test is, how many test questions, what type of questions there will be, instructions, how to begin, how many you're going to be doing, whatever you need to say in there that helps students understand what their expectations are. Submit that. So now what we have is the test canvas for my Psych2 Test 2, and there's no questions that have been selected and no points. So I'm not going to create a question, I'm going to reuse a question. And I'm not creating a question set, I'm going to create a random block. Because I have about 316 questions, I'm going to have the test randomly select 60 from that 316 to give to each student. And I'm going to be using this test bank. Not all of them, just the one, and I'm going to use all the test questions. And it's going to line them up for me. And since I've already checked over my document and I know that I want them all, I'm going to say yes to saying I want them all, 316. Now at the top here you can see that one question has been selected. There's the one out of 316 and it's worth 10 points. If you come way over here, there's the 10 points. Well, I know I want all my questions to be 1 point. So now we have one test question worth 1 point. So now I'm going to say out of the 316, I want my test to be 60. And so now my test has got 60 questions and 60 points. That's perfect. Over to OK. Now that my test has been done, I got to put it in the folder that I want students to access the test. So we're going to go over to the content. You might have a different label, but if you got, this is where you put your stuff. And let's say the test is going to go into week 10. We click on week 10 and we click assessment and we want to make a test. So now we're going to add an existing test. I already made a test called Psych2 Test 2, and I'll pick it. And there it is. And then from here, I can set all my terms. Okay, let's go through them. Put in whatever you want to say here under the course description. Now, if you filled that in when we created the test in the test pools and surveys, then your stuff that you already typed in the course description will be here. If you want to change something, you can change it in description there. Then you can decide whether it's going to open a new window. Either it goes into another window over here on the top, or as a tab, or it works right within the same tab you're in Blackboard. I like them to stay. So I don't want them to go in a new window. You must indicate yes. Now, if you post this test right now, it will be available now, but we're going to stay down here and we're going to set the dates for the tests where that makes sense. I also want to add a new announcement. As soon as this test is available, it will post an announcement in Blackboard for me. Now, you may only want them to have a single test, a single attempt. I often give them multiple attempts, so I would do it this way. 2. And I will give them the greatest advantage. They will get the highest grade of the 2 tests that they do will count. Now you can either choose forced completion, which if they start the test, they must finish the test. So if you're going to give them 90 minutes to complete a 60-minute or 60 question multiple choice, then you might put a forced completion so it's done in 90 minutes and doesn't go beyond. But because I've put 2 attempts, I'm going to set the timer to say I'm going to give them 3 hours to do that. Or no, an hour and a half. I guess 180 minutes will do that. And I'm going to have it shut off as soon as it hits the time frame. So as soon as those times are gone, it's done. Now, here's where I set the dates. Now you can set whatever date you want. I'm going to have it open today because I want to show you what it looks like. And then I'm going to have it close on the 19th at 4 p.m. The password is if you're going to give somebody an access to the test after the test date and you don't want anybody else accessing it. You can put a password in there and give the student the password. But I'm going to show you down here, if you have students with disabilities and you have an accommodation, you can click Add Users. It opens up your class list in Blackboard. You select those students that are accommodated, click this, and you can set the terms. If they've got 50% more time, that window offers you a chance to add the 50%. I'm not showing you this on this particular instance because I don't have any students or anybody in this particular shell. And then down at the very bottom, you can add this. If you want to give them feedback on their questions, you can do this here. It's not mandatory, and under our circumstances, probably the way to go is just don't give them all at once. One at a time questions. They can't backtrack. So if I'm sitting beside somebody, I get a question and I don't know the answer, but you've done it and you got it, you think right, then you can backtrack on yours. Tell me what the answer is. I don't want any backtracking. And I want to randomize that. Everybody's test is randomized out of the 316 questions, so nobody gets the same question at the same time. And then that's it. We click Submit. And we look down here and there's the test. So if we were to click it, the descriptions and instructions will be here. And then if I start to begin, there's an error only because I'm not a student. But it would show the first question. And then once they selected it, they can move on to the second question and so on. So that is essentially how do you use Repondus to create a document, a zip file that you can reuse semester after semester in the same course without having to use Repondus each time. All right? I hope that's helpful for you. Good luck in this upcoming period of time while we try to cope with all the changes that we need to go through. I hope this is helpful for you. Good luck, everybody. Bye now.